Lord of the Rings missed a huge opportunity with Arwen, and it would have made the Battle of Helm's Deep better. Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings film trilogy earned its reputation as a fantastic adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's books, but considerable changes were still made in adapting the three-part novel to the screen. One of the biggest changes involved the elf maiden Arwen, played by Liv Tyler. She has a much smaller role in the books, though she still serves as Aragorn's, Viggo Mortensen, romantic interest. When it came time to make the films, her role had to be expanded for the love story between her and Aragorn to make sense on screen. Arwen needed to appear more often, which The Fellowship of the Ring, the first movie in the series, accomplished by giving her Glorfindel's role of bringing Frodo, Elijah Wood, to Rivendell. But after the Fellowship sets out from Rivendell, keeping Arwen involved became more difficult to incorporate. The Two Towers planned to fix that problem by showcasing Arwen in a crucial scene that would have put her on a much different path. The Lord of the Rings almost put Arwen in the Battle of Helm's Deep. While Arwen is an important character, she is one of the few who does not actively fight the growing threat. But the Two Towers nearly changed that by including her in the Battle of Helm's Deep, as revealed in the commentary track on the extended edition DVD. Already, the battle is significantly different from Tolkien's version, which didn't have an army of elves arrive to aid the Rohirrim. The film added this moment to show that the elves were indeed involved in the fight, which is only briefly mentioned in the books. The alliance also demonstrated the growing union between elves and men, creating a beautiful moment. However, it was also nearly used to solve a problem in the Arwen and Aragorn love story. It may seem odd to imagine Arwen slaying orcs, but it would have been a good solution for the character's biggest issue. Arwen and Aragorn may have the most substantial romantic storyline in the series, but they spend little time together. This creates a unique problem, as the trilogy must build a convincing relationship when the characters are not in the same place for most of the story. Uniting Aragorn and Arwen is the most obvious solution, and Arwen going to battle, which was the original plan, would have done just that. Though the films ultimately went in a different direction, bringing Arwen to Helm's Deep would have allowed her and Aragorn additional scenes together and developed their relationship. Seeing more of the connection they share would have gotten the audience invested and made their wedding a more significant payoff instead of leaving them with a mostly implied romance. The Lord of the Rings sent Arwen down a different path. The Lord of the Rings trilogy has many scenes that didn't make it into the films, but most were added back in the extended editions. Yet Arwen's Helm's Deep fight scenes, which were filmed, were never released or reincorporated into the film. Instead, the Two Towers and the Return of the King give her a separate storyline as she and her father argue about her future. Elrond, Hugo Weaving, tries to convince her to leave Middle-earth with the other elves, which she nearly does. But a vision of her and Aragorn's son brings her back to Rivendell, where she convinces Elrond to reforge Anduril, the broken sword of Aragorn's ancestors. She becomes so sure in her decision that Arwen's elven immortality begins to fade. While this storyline proves that she and Aragorn care deeply about each other, it still ultimately supports a relationship where the couple spends very little screen time together. Why did the Lord of the Rings change Arwen's story? Since Arwen's appearance in the Battle of Helm's Deep was actually filmed, if you squint you can catch a few glimpses of her in the background of the battle. But ultimately, the film's creative team changed their minds about the direction of her story. When news of Arwen in the battle leaked online, fans objected, calling her Arwen Warrior Princess. There was no official explanation for the change, but the DVD featured explains that everyone agreed it wasn't working while they were filming. Admittedly, Arwen is not a warrior, and even Liv Tyler agrees that the battle scenes were out of character, insisting in the DVD featurette that you don't have to put a sword in her hands to make her strong. The Lord of the Rings has several female warriors, most notably Yaowen, Miranda Otto, but Arwen isn't one of them. She is certainly a strong character with an independent streak and an open mind, which the films show, but she isn't a warrior per se. It makes sense for her character to not go to battle, yet the original storyline would likely have been good for her. Arwen didn't need to fight, but the character would have benefited from more time with Aragorn. Her participation in the